let's get into the realms of transfers because that's where all the action is. Let's start off from the doorsteps of Newcastle. They don't get a lot of mention a lot of times, but yeah, why on earth would Newcastle United be spending £55 million on Anthony Elanga? It sounds crazy to a lot of people, but is it justified for you? Is it a move that you would don't call me?
No, it's not a move that don't come here. And I side with people who have their eyebrows raised when they signed. Now that they've been interested in Elanga for a while, and more or less they signed him, especially for that amount of money. If it was, let's say, £30 million, no problem. But for £55 million, that's more or less like adding or being £10 million away from getting a Brian Mbeumo or getting a Mohamed Kudus, who are on top of the transfer list for most teams in this transfer window. And does Elanga meet that mark of those guys that I mentioned? Not so much. And so for me, it's about the amount. The amount. That's
actually a Forest record. Fee received for a player.
It's the amount of money involved. I mean, that's the only bit. But if it was, let's say, 30 million, he will be a fine addition to the squad.
6 goals, 11 assists, not justified?
After just
double
one
figures
season.
In assists.
Yeah, because at the
previous season he did 5 goals, 9 assists, then he's done 6 and 11. So that's an upward trend at least.
That's an upward trend, but at the end of the day, you have to look at it in context. Look at the whole Nottingham Forest team. As a unit, they performed beyond expectations, and at the time Elanga also was present. I mean, he also was part of the team, so he performed beyond expectation to a large extent. And you can make an argument that Newcastle are buying into the projection, as you rightly put out there, that you could see him developing further, but at this time, when you have Joe Willock also in the mix, you have the chap who started out on the right side, who was more or less like a remarkable story. Was it Gray? I'll get his, no, not Demarai Gray. Demarai Gray is out there. I'll get his name. I don't think you need to spend £55 million. That's my thinking, because you have more than enough cover on both sides of the pitch, and so to spend £55 million, for me, I think that's a little bit of an overspend, and it's not a priority signing. I think with Newcastle, a priority signing should have been in the centre back position, where a speedy centre back, younger centre back would have been a better signing, because
Dan Ben, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman,
exactly, and Botman dealt with injuries last season, and none of these three guys are fast enough. Schär is old. Dan Ben is also old. Yes, he's still playing very good football, but you need depth in that position, and that's why for me, they should have spent this money going in for a younger, more mobile defender, central defender, and because you'll be playing in the Champions League, and so once you have a system, the house system where he plays with these three guys at the back, you need a little bit of cover in that position, and so for me, that Elanga bid to Newcastle for £55 million, I don't commit. If it was, let's say, £30 million, like I said,
Is it Anthony Gordon you're talking about?
No, not Anthony Gordon. I'll get the name.
So far we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on X or Twitter. So on YouTube, Sulia Podcast is in the comments, and it's our good friend Baby Safu completely misbehaving. So the first comment says that Ghana didn't play bad yesterday. We hit the woodwork twice and should have at least a goal. And then
those
he comes
were
back.
Speculative shots. You see, that's the statistics bit that we always talk about. Those were speculative shots. And it's not like they coordinated the attack that well.
They were not high percentage shots.
No, they were not high percentage shots. So that bit, statistics wise, we had the edge over South Africa. We had more corners. We had more shots.
But those were empty stats.
But
well, anyway, he says that he misses Yao, and then he shouts out Gabi's head. That's
maybe some will be yourself.
Gabi, Elanga, quick thoughts on that before we move it on.
I was surprised. Newcastle were looking to sign João Pedro from Brighton. I think they slept on the job, and Chelsea took over. I'm asking myself one question.
Just a quick one. Jacob Murphy.
Yes.
Jacob Murphy. So you have Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon on one side. You have Joe Willock and Jacob Murphy on the other side. Why do you go in for Elanga?
Exactly. So Benny brings me to that point that I thought that if they went for João Pedro, I think he brings them a lot of options in terms of a profile of player. That João Pedro's quality. Because look, I see Anthony Elanga still in the mode of probably an Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon. I don't see something extra he adds to that Newcastle attack. I mean, you need somebody who can break that defense. Somebody who is very comfortable with the ball, can go past a very compact defense, can make something happen for you. More like a 10. Somebody who can actually make things happen out of nothing. And I mean, it just speaks about what kind of football Eddie Howe wants to play. That sit back system, rely on players who have got insane speed and that stuff. And I think that's what Anthony brings to the Newcastle United team. Like y'all said, if you look at that Newcastle team heading into the upcoming season, I don't think they are doing the right signings, because if you're going into another season where people are expecting that it's more going to be complicated, because Newcastle are going to play in Europe. Squad depth will count. You can't go in with players who are Asian. And so I think that they need to look at that defense to bring in players who can actually step up, players who they can rely on for a very long season of football. Looking at the football in the Premier League and also in Europe. So look, let's see what the Elanga deal gives them. But I think that he just gives them what they already have.
Let me give you a few numbers or a few things for the stats junkies. They say Newcastle's pursuit of Elanga underlines just how far his stock has risen. Now, if you look at the stats according to Opta, they say he's in the 80th percentile for goal creating actions, meaning that he outperforms 80% of similar players in that key attacking measure. Now, his high percentile for shots on target also highlights not just an eye for goal, but efficiency in making goalkeepers work. He doesn't waste chances, according to what they say. You go to crosses, and they say he outperformed all Newcastle's players. So Jacob Murphy, Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon average 4.85 crosses per 90. Elanga averages 6.65 crosses per 90. You can talk about progressive carries as well. How often he moves the ball towards goal. Performed relatively better. So it looks like Newcastle have been on an analytics thing. Like they've been crunching the numbers, and the numbers tell them that, you know what, this is the guy we need to go by. So let's see how that plays out. Let me talk about another transfer real quick. Let me stay with you on this one, yeah. Liverpool Football Club. I'll come to you on that. Liverpool have rejected a bid for Dawin Nunez. So I believe it's 46 plus 4 million pounds. They say Napoli should get out with that bid, and that is not how much they are willing to take. Now, take into context that, rest in peace, they've lost a striker or forward in Diego Jota. They are considering selling Nunez, considering selling Diaz as well. Just situate all that in context with them trying to sell Nunez and then rejecting this bid. Do you think that's his valuation? Do you think they should ask for more, or do you think he should probably be staying at all?
Well, I think it's a mix of a lot of things. I think the Jota conversation comes in. Another one that comes in is that probably Slot to look at the offer from Napoli and say, I don't think it's enough. In as much as it's not enough, I would still want him to be around as a squad player, because let's not forget, Liverpool would have to do a lot next season. They've brought in Julian Viet, but they'll still need some of these players who've been around for some time. Look, I think Nunez has been profligate in the last couple of seasons. He's not somebody you can actually rely on as a goal outlet. It's not somebody who can actually say that he would hit his chest and say he's giving you what, 20 goals yes, in all competitions. And so I'm sure Slot has looked at that and say the offer from Napoli is not that good enough. If it's not that good enough, I think we can still have Nunez around as a squad player. If Napoli can actually come back with a proper offer, I think probably he would go. And then Liverpool can look into bring somebody who can replace him in there. Because look, he walks into that Napoli team it's Antonio Conte.
Yeah.
He probably be a transformed player or go on
I think he will really cook in the Serie A.
Go on to do some big things for Napoli, especially with what we've seen some players that everybody thought
and he has not good. And he will be playing with De Bruyne.
Exactly, was not good for their team. Scott McTominay is a perfect example. Zambo Anguissa for Fulham, we saw him; he was not good enough, but has gone on to Napoli to be a mainstay for the Italian club. So let's see what next for Napoli. If they can actually come back again, I think it would be a very good acquisition for Napoli.
Talking about Napoli, I think they've also agreed a deal for Noah Lang, the Dutch skillful winger, and so they are building a pretty decent project. If I look at the fact that they won the title, and I thought that Inter Milan and AC Milan, and as well as Juventus, would wake up from their slumber. The people who have won the title are the ones who have made
they've not been too active in the transfer market.
They've boasted their team. Yeah, how much is an acceptable offer for Nunez, and will you sell him at all if you were in Liverpool's position?
I sell him at all. If Luis Diaz leaves, then I won't sell him. If Luis Diaz leaves, then I won't sell him. Okay. If Luis Diaz stays, then I'm open to selling him. Because if Luis Diaz leaves, that means that yes, you already operating at a -1 with Diogo Jota's passing. And so what that means is it become a bit light across the front line, despite the fact that Florian Wirtz has also been added to the mix as a false 9. If you let those two guys go, Luis Diaz and Dawin Nunez, that means that you let 3 guys go. And that means that you only have Cody Gakpo, Florian Wirtz, and Mohamed Salah as your frontman, and I don't think that's enough.
Still have Javier Elliott.
Maybe
this could be a breakout season.
I think he will operate best as a more or less that Kai Havertz role, like a number 8 who normally arrives late into the box, that kind of player. And so I wouldn't necessarily put him in that frontline position. And so I don't think you should let Darwin Nunez go, especially when you're already down by a man and there's a potential for Luis Diaz to leave. If Luis Diaz leaves, then Darwin Nunez has to stay. Both cannot go. One has to stay. And if one decides to leave, no problem at all. Because of Florian Wirtz's ability to operate as a false 9. So if one leaves and one stays, it's all well and good. But you can't have a situation where both leave. That is too much of an ask for the team to be able to meet up with the demands for the upcoming season. And just a quick one on the Newcastle. I was just checking the ages. Fabian Shah is 33. Dan Ben is also 33. Jesus. And their backup is Jamal Lascelles.
That's
combined age of 66.
Yes, and their backup is Jamal Lascelles.
Lascelles is how much? 30?
32, 33. And on top of that, there is also
they are pushing 100. They are pushing 100.
And there's also Emil Kraft also in the mix as a defender. So honestly, I think
he's clearly not fancied under Eddie Howe.
And I honestly believe that they should really improve in that department. The defensive unit, they should really improve in that department. I don't think
they should go to Chelsea. There are lots of young defenders there, but they are still.
Look at you trying to offload your deadwood to another team.
On a more serious note,
but they are still not good.
And that's why
he was good the first 6 months at Chelsea.
And that's why for me that spending 55 million for Elanga, he's 23 years old. He's 23 years old, developing player. But you have to deliver now. And your defense is, and they are in a pretty tight situation financially. They don't have too much money to spend around, and so you have to prioritize. It's all about a priority. Which one do you prefer? Which one are you lighter? And that clearly is the defense. I mean, in the forward line, yes, you can always want to improve, but you have more than enough cover there. And so for me, the Elanga move, I don't commit.
So Anthony Elanga, not don't commit, but it looks like there's a lot going on. Let's talk about Bryan Mbeumo just real quick, because it looks like the signing that was supposed to have come through the door 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Some way, somehow, has still not happened. And with United almost heading to preseason, they've only completed one signing in Mateus Cunha. That must be worrying. Yeah, I mean, what's going on? I thought this was over. Looks like Brentford are still playing hardball over a transfer fee. United know that they want the player. Some way they are not getting over the line.
Yeah, and they will play hardball because at the end of the day, you have to look around what is happening. Elanga is going for £55 million. Look at Brian Mbeumo. People don't realize the guy scored 20 goals in the season in the last campaign.
I agree with you.
So if Elanga is going for 55, I mean, definitely Brian Mbeumo will get 10 more million.
You should give me double. If I'm them, I'm taking double the money.
And that's what I said about Kudus and Mbeumo.
20 goals, 7 assists.
Yes.
In almost did doubles.
Yes, in 38 games. So for me, I understand where Brentford are coming from. So Man United have to splash the cash if they really want that Brian Mbeumo. If they really want that guy, they have to splash the cash. And so I'm all for it. I mean, with Brentford taking the stance that they've taken, they are into business. They see what is going on around. They see the value the player has, and so definitely they will have to pay the premium. They will have to pay the premium. But I think with Man United, the lack of transfers is just down to their inability to offload players that they don't want. I think if they at this point they had been able to offload all 6 players who are unwanted at the club now, I think paying extra 10 million to get Brian Mbeumo wouldn't be too much of an issue. I think it's just down to the fact that they haven't been able to move players and get them off the wage bill, and that's the reason why they are playing a little bit of a tight pocket a game with Brentford.